What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is Queen Sugar, season 6, episode 8. They said there's only 2 more episodes left for this season. Well, we pick up where we left off last week. Ralph Angel is in the field looking over the land. I think reality is trying to set in what's really going on. He really is getting ready to lose the land. Darla comes to talk to him and lets him know, listen, I got your back, babe. You know, however this gonna go, we gonna be ride or die. We Bonnie and Clyde up in here, and I'm gonna follow you however it happens. He says, listen, Charlie wants to meet me down at the town hall. I think, something dealing with the farmers, the black farmers, the lawsuit. And so they get down there and they've settled the lawsuit. The good news is they won. The bad news is they only won $40,000 and only $20,000 of it is coming from the government. So once again, they're feeling frustrated, like, we won, but did we really win? Because we really thought we were going to get more money than we were going to get, and we thought we were entitled to more money, which I don't remember the original amount, but I definitely know it was more than $40,000. And Charlie is like, listen, we live to see another day. This is what it is, right? At the end, she pulls Ralph Angel aside and says, hey, how you doing? How you feeling? He tells her, I ain't doing too good. I ain't feeling too good. She said, well, just know and understand that it's not over. I ain't figured out how we're going to get that land back, but we're going to get that land back. Like, I haven't let go of the fight, And of course, Ralph Angel's like, all right, Charlie. 2 things we know Ralph Angel going to do in every episode. He going to give you that, all right, then. All right, Charlie. And he going to give you a cry. He going to give you a good cry. He going to give you a good tear, okay? Now, while this is going on, Nova is still dealing with her PTSD from her situation with the Popo. And she decides that she needs to just take a road trip. She got to get out the house. She says she can't hear the ancestors talking to her anymore. And she needs to really get herself back, like get some fresh air and really decompress and really process, right? I'm not making fun of that. I know it came out like that, but I'm really not. Because it's a trauma. I get it. It's a trauma. Now, as she's doing that, her neighbor comes over. He brings her some gumbo, and she was like, well, I appreciate it. He sees the bag. He like, where you going? She said, I'm going on a road trip. I don't know where I'm going. I'm just going to get in the car, and I'm going to let my spirit guide me. I don't know where I'm going to end up, but I just know I need to get up out of here. He said, well, let me roll with you. She was like, we roll? He was like, let's roll. She was like, you sure you can just pick up and go like that? Like, you don't have... He was like, yo, I'm with you. Like, I want to go. I want to go with you. So I'm going to go ahead and knock them on out the way, okay? So they end up going on a road trip, and you see them flirting. You see them, you see the looky looks and the blushing and all of that. And they end up going to the Whitney Plantation, which is a very well-known former slave plantation down in the New Orleans area. If you ever go down to New Orleans, you can visit the plantation. There's a lot of history there. We see, he feels some kind of way at first. He like, this where you wanted to come? Like, I thought we was trying to decompress from what happened with the police had our face in the ground. You want to come to a slave plantation? And she was like, listen, I just feel like this is where we need to be right now. And both of them have their moments as the day progresses. We see him getting very angry, looking at a list of the slave names and pictures depicting the things that happened to us as slaves. And he was like, yo, like with everything that they've done to us as a people, it's no wonder that we don't pick up every gun that we can find and go demand, some justice, right? So again, we're hearing this whole thing about us demanding justice. I feel like it's the second time we heard it, and we're going to hear it another time in this episode. And I feel like they're building us up to something. And I could be reading too much into it, but I feel like they're building us up to something because we keep hearing about this fighting for our justice and not taking the crumbs that are given to us. Like, we keep hearing that theme throughout this episode. There's a scene with them in the chapel, and there are 2 little black girls in there, and one of the girls tells Nova she's beautiful, and she tells her, you're beautiful too, and don't you ever forget that. She was like, I'm not. I said, I know that's right. You better go ahead with your confidence, girl. Ain't nobody mad at you. And then when this, when they're getting ready to leave, he tells Nova, listen, I am, he gets a call from his boss. He missed the deadline, fooling with Nova. But he said, but it was worth it. He said, one, I needed some time too. Like, I really needed the day too. Well, they got this little thing called leave. And they got this wonderful invention called an email. I mean, you could have let your bosses know you was going to be off the grid. And so you giving everybody working from home a bad name. Like, I'm trying to work from home. You giving us all a bad name, bruh. You can't just disappear and you got deadlines. Send somebody an email. Tell them you ain't coming, bruh. That's it. That's all. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. Anyway. And Nova leans in for a kiss and he sort of stops her. He said, listen, I'm so glad I got to know you today. I wanted to get to know you better. You are an incredible woman. You are an amazing woman. She was like, but, because I was just trying to kiss you when you hit me with the skirt. So what? He said, but you just went through an ordeal and you are vulnerable. And I'm not going to take advantage of that. So let's continue to roll. Let's continue to get to know each other. And we're going to work our way up to that kiss. And she was like, okay. I like what you just said, player. Now, while this is going on, Micah is at his dorm room he's having his photo exhibit down to the real spot today. And so we see him putting his pictures together. And there are a couple of pictures in there of him and old boy, his frat brother and it was confirmed that it is his frat brother. Because today, in this episode, they were talking about the frat this and the frat that, whatever. And he called him frat. So I'm like, okay, this is your frat brother. And there was a couple of pictures that there was a little, okay. But we also saw some of Micah's other work. He's got black and white. He's got color prints. We know Micah has been a photographer from season 1. And so this is a great opportunity that, Hollywood is giving him to exhibit his work in his first show. And his boy was like, you should do a show down to the frat house. He was like, the frat house though, for real? Like, really? The frat house? Like, come on, bro. You already know that ain't gonna work, And he was like, no, I think that would be a good idea. Like, the frat house needs some culture. It might need some culture, but it ain't about to get no culture, okay? So we see Hollywood with Aunt Vi, and Aunt Vi's having a flare. Remember, she was diagnosed with lupus a couple of seasons ago, and she's having a flare up. And Aunt Vi's being Aunt Vi. She don't want nobody worrying about her. She don't want nobody fussing over her. She can worry about everybody else and fuss about everybody else, but she don't want nobody doing it for her. And so she tells Hollywood, I'm good. I just need to sit down and catch my breath. You go on down there and you handle it. He was like, well, maybe I need to stay here with you and cancel the event. She was like, you can't do that. Go ahead and go down there. I got this. So we see her later on in the day, and she ends up fainting. Right? And they're like, oh my goodness, Aunt Vi done fainted, But while this is going on, everybody is gathering down at the real spot. All the usual suspects are there, including Ralph Angel, who I gotta give Ralph Angel credit for what he going through and for what he did. Like, I would be feeling like, Teddy Pendergrass, the whole town's laughing at me. That's how I would feel in that moment. I would be like, oh my gosh, they are really like that. I would just feel like everybody was talking about me and the fact that I done effed it up and I done messed up the church's money and I done lost my family land. Like, but I guess either nobody knows yet or they polite enough not to say nothing in front of Ralph Angel and Hollywood. I don't know. But they were talking about the settlement and they were talking about getting the crumbs and how, it's just it's a horrible thing for them to get these crumbs. And here come revolutionary Micah Hampton talking about, well, we don't have to. We as a black people, we need to organize and revolutionize. We need to stand up for our rights. That's part of the problem, is that we've always accepted the crumbs. And that's why they keep giving us the crumbs. I was like, you better go on. You better go on, Micah, and let them know what it is and who it is and how it is. And so again, like I said, we keep hearing that theme of not taking, not accepting, so I feel like we're building up to something, y'all. Anyway, now, while all of this is going on, Davidson called up Charlie. He like, what you doing tonight? She was like, I got a little work to do, I'm going after when I get done with this work, I'm going to lay across the couch with a little bit of wine, hit me with a little Netflix and chill. He was like, well, you got a car outside, pack your overnight bag and, I got something to show you. She was like, I got something. You got something. Overnight bag. Where we going? You got tickets. He said, I got tickets. She said, tickets for what? Like, I don't even know how to dress. Like, what I need to put on. Now, let's be clear. I like me some Charlie. Okay, I loves me some Charlie. But Charlie, if you didn't know where you was going, you ain't know what this man had planned for you. You could have, and I know the car was outside waiting, Charlie. And I don't know what you had in that overnight bag. Maybe you had an evening gown, a business suit, a bathing suit. Maybe you had packed for whatever he had ready for you. But I know you got your ass up in them same damn jeans and shirts you was sitting at the table with that wasn't ready for nothing. That wasn't even a cute enough outfit to go to a nice dinner. But okay, Charlie. Listen. Okay, girl. And Davidson had a private plane and everything for her. Because when she landed, she was like, why am I standing out in front of our old apartment? Now, they had Duke signs everywhere. I'm assuming that's for us to know that they were in Durham, North Carolina. I didn't remember that's where they went to undergrad. But I'm here for it. Because that makes sense that she would fly from Louisiana to North Carolina versus all the way to California. Because I was about to be like, come on, y'all, stop playing. Like, she did not fly to California like that. But Durham, North Carolina is a little different. It's probably an hour flight from Louisiana to Durham, maybe an hour and a half. So that's a little more reasonable for me to understand, right? So when she gets there, it's their old apartment. Of course, Davis has recreated the apartment, the same furnishings. They got like, why do fools fall in love posters on the wall. And of course, she's like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this, you know. And she's just talking about the reminiscing about, how much money they didn't have when they really thought they was doing the damn thing, but they really weren't doing nothing because they really didn't have the money they thought they had. And, it was cool. She was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you did this. Like, it looks just like our old apartment. Like, how did you do this? And it was so sweet. But then he had to mess it up, child. He gonna take out a ring and ask Charlie to marry him. Talking about, you the love of my life. You the only woman for me. I know I done messed up, but baby, I am back. And Charlie is looking at him like, why you gotta do this? Why we couldn't just lay down on this floor, eat this pizza, drink these wine coolers, have some good sex, and go home in the morning? Why is he ruining this by asking me to marry him? Now, let me take a pause for a minute. That whole scene they had set, I was like, oh my gosh, if this don't take me back to college. Wine coolers, my brother? Listen, I used to drink wine coolers, and I knew it wasn't a lot of alcohol. Let's be clear. I was never fooled into thinking I was doing nothing drinking the wine coolers. But baby, I used to love me some wine coolers. I would hit that store on my way home from my little part-time job when I was in college. Give me a little 6-pack of wine coolers and probably pick up some fast food. Now, they had pizza there. Probably pick up some little fast food, get back to my apartment. And I just knew I was doing the damn thing, okay? So when I saw them wine coolers, then they had a nerve to have a skate playing in the back room, just kicking it. Baby, who don't remember, in my age group that is, the first time they heard that on the radio? Lay back, kicking it, join the... Listen! It was a whole moment, and Davis had to mess it up by asking Charlie to marry him. Now, for the average person, that wouldn't be a bad thing. But we know for Charlie, it's a bad thing. So that's when she has to tell Davis, listen, bruh, don't do this, don't do this. I'm about to run for Senate, and I can't do it in California. I got to do it in Louisiana. And for the next 2 years, I'm going to be on the, for the next year, I'm going to be traveling the state doing speaking engagements so people can get to know who I am and get used to seeing me. Then the year after that, I'm going to be campaigning for my Senate seat. This is about to be a long 2 years, and we are setting ourselves up for failure to get married now. Even an engagement, it would be a lot long distance. Davis was like, girl, I will move to Louisiana. And Charlie was like, but bruh, like, okay, you moved to Louisiana. First of all, you giving up this great opportunity to coach that you have. I don't want to do that to you. But second of all, we are still setting ourselves up for failure because I'm not going to be a housewife. I'm going to literally be traveling. And the last thing I want is for you to be, my lapdog following me around the state. Now, I'm adding a lot of sauce to the conversation, but this is what I heard her say, okay? This might not be exactly what she had said, but this is what I heard her say. But ultimately, she convinced him, and he was crying. I said, look at Davis with them tears. He been hanging out with Ralph Angel too long. But ultimately, they agree. Well, I don't know if Davis agreed. But, they're not going to get married right now. But Davis let her know, I ain't going nowhere. I'm not going nowhere. Let's be clear. So anyway, while all of this is going on, we're down at the real spot Micah got his art exhibit, and Micah go put front row center and a big ass picture of him and old boy looking like they about to go out on a date. Now let's be clear, I could care less. You know, if they trying to write Micah's character as being gay or bisexual, do you, okay? Um, but of course, Michael, you knew it was gonna be a moment. Like you knew there was gonna be a reaction. As much as you love these people and these people that seen you grow up, you know where you are. You in the Bible Belt. You in the deep South. You dealing with old school mindsets. Like, don't sit here and act like you ain't know you was gonna get a reaction from posting that picture. And of course he did. Now Hollywood defended him and Ralph Angel defended him. You know, but ultimately Micah even, and I'm not even sure if Micah did it to for the shock value, or if Micah did it because he really truly is feeling some kind of way about something. Y'all know what I'm saying? But after the exhibit and he goes back to campus, he's sort of feeling some kind of way because he doesn't, you know, the reaction from the farmers, which was really only one person. Everybody else was defending him. But you know, and his roommate was trying to tell him, like, listen, first of all, you can't let those people's reaction and those people's attitude get in your head. Like, it is what it is, and you feel how you feel. Like, don't do that. And why you giving me the cold shoulder? Why you acting like you got a problem with me? Like, what did I do? And because, you know, Micah ain't talking to him, and Micah kind of, you know, talking about I need to be alone kind of thing. And he was like, yo, Micah, talk to me. Like, what's up, bro? What's good? And Micah was like, I don't know, just, you know. A dude was like, for real, Micah? That's what we doing? Like, that's what we about to do right now? And so Micah was like, well, I defend you all the time to the frat, you know, about being gay. He was like, whoa, player, I never said what I was. I never said whether I was gay or whether I was straight. And let's be clear, I don't have to. I don't have to declare nothing because my sexuality is not anybody else's business. He was like, and I'm really like feeling some kind of way about you right now because you not too sure how you moving. And so they sort of had their first little spat, honey. And I guess we'll see how that work out. Now, after all of that is said and done, Hollywood comes home and he finds Aunt Vi laid out on the floor. Now, she is not passed out anymore, but she can't get up. You know, she had that fall. She probably a little sore. She can't get up. You know, Hollywood is like, we're going to the hospital. And she was like, I ain't going to no hospital. He said, listen, don't argue with me, woman. She said, Hollywood, this is not my first flare up. I know what to do and you know what to do. He said, I'll tell you what. Go ahead. We're going to get you some rest. We're going to get you your meds and get you some water. But if you ain't feeling better by the end of the night, I'm taking your ass to the hospital. Okay? Now, later on that day, Ralph Angel comes to... Oh, rewind, pause. While they were at the real spot, Hollywood goes up to Ralph Angel and asks him how he doing. Ralph Angel was like, I'm good. He said, I know I was kind of hard on you the other night. He said, you were right. He said, you were right. You know, ain't no... you said what needed to be said. So then Hollywood was like, are we good? And Ralph Angel gave up, you know, stood up, gave him a hug, dapped him up, and was like, no, we good. See, this is what I'm talking about. Accountability, right? You should want to have people in your life that's going to call you on your shit, but love you in spite of it. The one thing I will say, as mad as I was at Ralph Angel last weekend, y'all put it in my comments that y'all knew I was mad at Ralph Angel. At the end of the day, his family is still supporting him. Like, you fucked up. But your wife ain't leave you. Your family didn't abandon you. And guess what? It's going to be okay because people make mistakes. So he's talking to Aunt Vi. And he's apologizing to Aunt Vi. And Aunt Vi apologized to him in their own kind of way. Because neither one of them said, I'm sorry. But they both apologized in their own way. And Aunt Vi said, she said, listen, I looked that school up. That's one of the best schools in the country. And you were right to send him to that school. She said, I was just in my feelings. I was just feeling some kind of way. Like, you ain't do nothing wrong. And Ralph Angel, I'm sure, needed to hear that. And he was like, you know, he's doing really well, you know. And they talked. And she told him, she said, listen, you got enough going against you as a black man. Like, at the end of the day, I have your back. I got you. I will support you, and I'm always going to be here for you. You screwed up, but we not going to leave you. We're not going to leave you hanging. You know, I promised your dad that I was going to take care of y'all, and I'm going to keep my promise. Like, I'm here. And so it was a moment, you know, it was a moment, a long time coming, is what they needed to hear. I mean, it was what they needed to say to each other, and it was a long time coming, you know. Um, so the next day, Avi and Charlie and Ralph Angel go to check on Avi, and they're talking, and she lets them know that she's running for Senate. And so they asked her how Davis feels about it, and she was like, "He's good. We're good. It's good." And Ava, who don't miss nothing, she picked up on it. She know, but she know not that she not gonna ask in front of all of them. You know, she gonna let that ride. She gonna probably ask her a little later when it's just the two of them together. And later on in the episode, well, at the end of the episode, we see Charlie and Davis texting each other. So, you know, it looks like Davis, remember he said when he was like, "All right, listen, I hear all that you saying, you doing all of that, but I ain't going nowhere. Like, we're gonna figure this out, because I'm not leaving you, and I'm not going nowhere." Then we see Ralph Angel and Darla like, "Listen, I done found us an apartment down to New Orleans. It's nice, we can afford it." And he was like, "Darla, I ain't ready for all that yet." She was like, "Bruh, we got 45 days to get off this land. We gotta pack. We need to find some way to live. Like, we got a lot of stuff to do. Like, I understand you feeling some kind of way and you in your feelings, but listen, this shit is gonna happen. And when it happens, we need to find somewhere to go." I'm just saying. So anyway, that was the episode. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in them comments. Peace.